about how you can work with your causal analysis. Here you see the pictures that I showed you in class about possible problems or events or trends that you can investigate, possible causes to in an English-speaking country. And the method that I'm going to present here is the fishbone method in order to find different causes to a problem. If you just do a search on Google, you find plenty, as you can see. And this is a really good method because when using it, you can identify certain steps or possible causes then to your problem that you might have missed otherwise. And it was Professor Kaoru Ishikawa who created this effect analysis, and he actually did it in order to solve problems in processes in the industry, but it has shown that this is a method that can be used in other situations as well, and we have used it for several years when doing this particular task. So you see here that there are 4 steps to it. You identify the problem, i.e. you choose your problem that you would like to investigate, and then you work out major factors, and then you identify possible causes involving those factors, and then you analyze your diagram, and of course you choose which possible causes could be most effective when finding a possible answer to your question. And this is then the document that I have shared with you. And as you see on number 1, you are to choose a topic, a phenomenon, or trend, or event. And a possible question is why Super Bowl still is important to the American people. And that is quite a big problem. So to understand how you can use the fishbone diagram or the graph, I am going to show you a much simpler problem, maybe not that simple, but easier to understand the graph from. Here on smartraw.com you can see that they have chosen the problem your car won't start. And what could then the causes of car failure be? And they have identified possible problems. Could be machine problems, material problems, problems in method, people, or environment. And you can see that this looks kind of like a fishbone. That is why you call it a fishbone graph. So pick one problem at a time. Machine problem, what could be the causes? Well, fuel gauge, timing belt, starter broken, engine has overheated. All of those are possible causes to machine problems. What about materials? Well, the battery could be dead, you could be out of fuel, spark plugs could be broken. Methods, what could be problems with the method? The gear could be in the wrong position. People always, of course, are sources or possible causes to a problem, and it could be lack of training or lack of car maintenance, or it could have to do with the environment. It could be a cold climate. This, I think, is pretty straightforward, and you hopefully can understand how you can see that there are many possible causes to a problem and not just one. And if you then use this graph for maybe a bit more complicated problem that you are going to investigate, and I have chosen here to look into something then that we can really find in an English-speaking country, and that is segregation in Hull, Northern Ireland, or Northern England, sorry. Hull is then a town which I lived in when I studied in England, and it was clear that they had a huge problem with segregation, and I have made my own fishbone graph here. I put my problem over here, segregation, and then I chose the problems history, man, management, environment, methods, and equipment, and those are the ones that I think you should use as well. So I looked into history. Could there be any historical causes to segregation? Well, World War II, during World War II, the entire town was bombed, and since it was a harbor town, all the means of financing the city or making people get salaries and survive were damaged through World War II. And also, historically, all of Northern Ireland were an industrial region, and there are no more mining industries today because coal and such are not as used as we know anymore. So this could be one of the three possible causes to segregation today, because we know that when people run out of money, or that when there are no job opportunities, people tend to move. So all the people that had ambitions moved from Hull. So what have other people done, man? Well, we know that northern people are traditionalists, and that of course can be a cause to segregation, because we know that then we could have a problem with having two new cultures meet. It could also be that people are bigots, or that they have a lack of education, which also are known factors to segregation, because when people are bigots or they don't have an education, there is a greater risk of people not wanting to be together or socialize, and then segregation could be further enhanced. What about management? With management, we mean like the government or the people sitting in the municipality. What can they do, or what have they done for or against segregation? And it is clear that after World War II and the problems with work opportunities, they have not allocated enough money to the region. They have failed with employment plans, and they do not have a clear integration plan in the north. So that can be causes to segregation. What about environment? The geographical factors could also be social factors, of course. But if we look at how it is in the north, it is a cold country, it is a desolate country, it is not an attractive town, how it is built. That could make people not want to move there. Also, it is close to York, which is a really attractive town, and it could be if people choose to move to Northern England, they choose to move to York instead of Hull. There is a university in Hull, but it is far from the town centre, and if some people live close to the universities and some people live in the town centre and we have distance, that could be a cause for segregation. We'll look at methods that are used to work against segregation. Well, it could be that after World War II, the country or the management tried to restore the city or the town as quickly as possible. And as we see over here with equipment, the town was rebuilt quickly, but carelessly. So today we have a town that is not attractive to investors or businessmen. Even though there is a university with high standard, there is no plan to really integrate the people who have studied at the university. So when they take their degree, they move away from Hull. So all of these factors could be possible causes to segregation in Hull, Northern England. If we then go back to the plan, I have identified the problems, I have worked out the major factors, and I have identified possible causes. Now it is time to analyze my diagram, and my step here then is to look at, okay, what could be the three biggest causes to the problem that I would like to look into further. And I would say that one of them would be history, because it has influenced segregation a lot. So I would choose to write about history, the historical perspective. I would also look at the environmental factors, since the environmental factors are linked to management. It is far from London and close to close to Scotland, and as we know, there are animosity between English and Scottish people, so I would look into more how the environmental geographical factors actually have influenced, together with management, the segregation in Hull. I think it would be hard to look into Man, maybe Man, and how they are traditionalists and how their culture works against integration. So I would do, that is what I would do. I would look into history, I would look into management together with geography, and also, of course, management and equipment go together. And then I would have my third with social factors regarding how the English northern people are traditionalists. So to repeat, the three main possible causes for segregation that I would look into are historical factors, number 2, how the government of Britain have worked with the geographical factors and financial factors, and 3, how the social factors concerning a man or men, people, have influenced segregation. Thank you. Now hopefully you can see how to use this fishbone diagram. Now it is your turn to do the same thing, and what you do then is that you open a Google graph, you name your graph cause on a problem, trend, or event in an English-speaking country. You put your headline, you write your problem over here, you make a fishbone diagram, you use the same problem causes as I have: history, man, management, environment, method, and equipment, and then you see what you can find, and then you share that with us next week. Thank you.